Welcome to The Debate, presented today on the ReviewCast YouTube channel. What if the reason you can't lose weight has absolutely nothing to do with, a lack of discipline?
Right, like it's a completely different issue.
Exactly. What if it has everything to do with a broken cellular thermostat? We're speaking directly today to the skeptics, the individuals who are just exhausted by rigorous, grueling workout routines.
Yeah, the people who are putting in all of the work.
Right, you follow the strict diets, you cut out the Friday night pizza, you drink the, frankly, dreadful green smoothies, and yet, the scale simply refuses to budge. You put in the physical effort, but the linear reward just isn't there.
It is, it's the absolute definition of physiological frustration. It is like pressing the accelerator of a car to the floor, but the transmission is disconnected.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right? The engine is roaring. You're burning incredible amounts of mental and physical energy, but you are completely stranded. And that naturally leads to a deep, justified skepticism about, any new product that claims it can suddenly fix that transmission.
Exactly. Which is why today we are auditing the viral weight loss supplement known as AquaSculpt.
Or as it's known online, the ice water hack.
Yeah, widely marketed across social media as the ice water hack. Now, just a quick note for our listeners who want to review the manufacturer's exact claims and ingredients while we talk, we've made sure the link to the official AquaSculpt website is available in the pinned comment and the video description below.
Because we definitely aren't here to just read their marketing copy, right? We are here to actually audit their science.
Precisely. And the core question we really have to grapple with today is this. Does AquaSculpt genuinely offer a scientifically valid, life-changing metabolic reset that's backed by all this profound empirical user success we keep hearing about?
Or, on the flip side, when we peel back the flashy marketing, is it just a scientifically underdosed product relying on a catchy morning gimmick?
Well, I look at AquaSculpt and I actually see a breakthrough. And I'll tell you why. I argue that its synergistic blend of natural ingredients, when combined with an anchoring morning behavioral ritual, it provides undeniable real-world weight loss results. And this is supported by thousands of positive empirical testimonials from people who had previously, frankly, lost all hope.
And I come at it from a different way. When you compare the supplement's specific formula to real, rigorous clinical studies, it reveals severe underdosing. So to me, that makes it more of a marketing triumph than a real physiological breakthrough.
Okay, well, let's start with what actually happens inside the body. Because I think it represents a really revolutionary, multifaceted approach to healthy weight management. AquaSculpt isn't claiming to be a single magic bullet, right?
Right, it's a blend.
Yeah, the formula utilizes safe, non-GMO natural ingredients. We are talking about berberine, alpha-lipoic acid, green tea extract, capsaicin from cayenne, resveratrol, and banaba leaf.
That's quite a list.
It is, and the underlying theory here is that it targets the root cause of stalled weight loss by activating thermogenesis and extending the body's fat-burning window. And beyond the biochemistry, we simply cannot ignore the human element here.
You mean the reviews?
Yeah, the sheer volume of positive empirical testimonials. Everyday people dropping 50 pounds without drastic lifestyle changes. To me, that proves its real-world efficacy for people who have utterly failed with standard restrictive diets.
I hear the enthusiasm for those human stories, I really do. And they are incredibly moving. But my perspective has to be grounded strictly in rigorous clinical data.
Sure, the hard numbers.
Exactly. Now, I will absolutely acknowledge that the individual ingredients within AquaSculpt, they have scientifically proven benefits. Berberine, for instance, is phenomenal for metabolic health and blood sugar support.
It's basically a staple at this point.
It is. But the specific dosages found in AquaSculpt are vastly insufficient to replicate the results seen in clinical trials. The ice water hack is frankly a rebranded marketing buzzword. It's designed to sell a proprietary blend that simply lacks the physiological potency of much cheaper generic alternatives, like just buying pure berberine HCl.
Well, I love that we are diving straight into the biochemistry here, because understanding the underlying mechanism is crucial for the skeptics in our audience who are, evaluating whether this supplement is actually worth their time.
Absolutely.
So there is a robust scientific theory behind these specific ingredients. Let's break down how that actually works. Take capsaicin, for example, the active compound in cayenne pepper. It targets what are called TRPV1 receptors.
Right, the receptors associated with heat and pain detection.
Exactly. Think of these TRPV1 receptors as your body's internal thermostats. When stimulated by capsaicin, they essentially trick your brain into thinking the body is experiencing a massive drop in temperature.
Which forces a reaction.
Right. It activates something called brown fat. And for our listeners who might not know, white fat, the stuff that accumulates around the belly and thighs, it just sits there storing excess calories.
Mostly acting as insulation? Yeah.
Exactly. But brown fat is entirely different. It is packed with mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of the cell. Brown fat actually burns calories to generate heat. That's the thermogenesis part. It is literally burning energy to keep you warm.
That is a highly accurate description of the mechanism. Actually, capsaicin does indeed trigger that response.
And it doesn't stop there. Then you have alpha-lipoic acid, or ALA, acting as a powerful antioxidant that supports insulin sensitivity, helping the body break down lipids into free-form fatty acids.
Which makes them easier to burn off.
You got it. Then you add green tea extract, specifically the compound EGCG, which is widely studied for boosting fat oxidation. And finally, berberine. It activates an enzyme called AMPK, which is often referred to as the metabolic master switch.
It's a very popular pathway to target right now.
Yeah. When you put them all together, you are looking at a comprehensive metabolic powerhouse. It's designed to flip the body from storing fat to actively burning it.
It sounds incredible when you list out the mechanisms like that. I mean, the biology of AMPK activation and brown fat thermogenesis is fascinating. But we have to systematically challenge the actual potency of this formula using specific clinical data.
You talking about the dosages again?
Right. Because in pharmacology and medicine, the dose makes the medicine. We can't just talk about what an ingredient can do in a vacuum. We have to talk about how much of it is biologically required to actually trigger that cascade.
Okay, let's look at the numbers then.
Let's do it. To achieve the fat-burning effects of EGCG that you just mentioned, clinical trials show you need somewhere between 500 to 800 milligrams daily.
Just to give our listeners a visual baseline, what does 800 milligrams actually look like? Are we talking about one pill or like a handful?
Well, in the real world, 800 milligrams of EGCG is the equivalent of drinking 8 or more large cups of brewed green tea every single day.
Wow. 8 cups.
Yeah, or taking several highly concentrated, dedicated EGCG capsules. And let's look at ALA. Studies showing even small drops in body weight or improvements in insulin sensitivity. They utilize anywhere from 300 to 1,800 milligrams per day.
Okay, so fairly high amounts.
Very high. And berberine, your metabolic master switch, to see significant improvements in blood sugar and metabolic issues, you need 1 to 3 full grams a day. AquaSculpt contains only a tiny fraction of these required doses.
But it's a proprietary blend.
Right. The doses are hidden behind the label of a proprietary blend. The physiological impact of taking such microdoses is likely minimal, if not entirely non-existent. You simply cannot expect the results of a 3-gram clinical trial from a fraction of a milligram in a blended capsule.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective. I really question the inherently reductionist approach of isolating clinical studies to judge a holistic product.
How so?
Well, think of it like this. Judging this supplement purely by the isolated dosage of one ingredient is like judging a single violinist and declaring the symphony isn't loud enough.
But AquaSculpt is a full symphony.
A symphony? Okay.
Yeah, it is the synergy of 6 different plant extracts, vitamins, and minerals working together. The argument here is that this combination creates a metabolic effect that is vastly greater than the sum of its parts. It is a multifaceted approach targeting inflammation, insulin sensitivity, and thermogenesis all simultaneously. That's an interesting point, though I would frame it quite differently. Synergy is a wonderful conceptual framework, sure, But synergy still requires a foundational baseline of efficacy to actually trigger a physical reaction.
But they do react together.
Let me offer a counter analogy. It is like trying to start a roaring fire with 6 tiny sparks instead of one solid match. Yes, there are 6 of them, but none of them possess the thermal mass to actually ignite the wood.
So, if I'm hearing you right, you are saying that taking these microdoses is essentially like throwing a single shot glass of water on a house fire. The water is technically fire retardant, the mechanism is correct, but the scale is just completely wrong.
That is precisely what I am saying. The scale is completely wrong. And if we look at the economics and the science together, the reality becomes stark.
The economics?
Yeah. Taking generic berberine HCl at 500 milligrams 2 to 4 times a day costs about $8 to $10 a month. That delivers the required clinical dose. AquaSculpt costs around $70 a month for a proprietary blend that doesn't meet any of those strict thresholds.
But wait, if the clinical data is as weak as you say, and the dosages are essentially shot glasses of water on a house fire, how do you explain the overwhelming human results?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. We cannot just ignore empirical human experiences because they don't fit neatly into a petri dish. We have to look at the empirical, positive experiences of the actual buyers.
I am certainly not ignoring them. But we have to analyze why those results are happening if the biochemistry isn't supporting it.
Let's look at Paula Smith. She is a working mother of 3 who struggled immensely with her weight. She's the classic chronic dieter. She went to a bachelorette party in the Hamptons, starved herself on chicken and steamed veggies for weeks beforehand, spent hours on the Stairmaster.
That sounds miserable.
Right? And she still felt like the fat friend who had to be subtly cropped out of the Instagram photos. It is an utterly heartbreaking, highly vulnerable psychological experience for millions of people. But then she utilized this specific routine, this ice water hack combined with AquaSculpt, and she lost 54 pounds and 5 dress sizes.
54 pounds. I mean, that is a massive transformation.
It is life-changing, and it isn't just about weight. Consider Jennifer, a 26-year-old marketing director. During 2020, her remote work completely blurred all of her personal boundaries. Her dining table became her office, and she gained 26 pounds.
A very common story, unfortunately.
Yeah. But taking AquaSculpt with a massive glass of ice water became her non-negotiable morning anchor. It was a promise to herself before checking her phone. She lost 17 pounds, but more importantly, she regained her mental clarity and her work-life balance.
Which is great for her, truly.
And the marketing claims this routine can boost the metabolism by 720% to over 1,000%. When you pair that cold water shock with the supplement, it creates a tangible, immediate sense of energy.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that biological claim. Let me tell you why. The claim of a 1,080% metabolic increase is frankly scientifically impossible.
Impossible or just, an aggressive estimate?
Impossible as in mathematically fatal.
Fatal?
Yes. If your resting metabolic rate suddenly increased by over 1,000%, your body temperature would skyrocket. You would physically cook from the inside out. Those are exaggerated marketing numbers designed to create virality on platforms like TikTok.
Wow, okay.
As for the dramatic weight loss in these testimonials, we have to look at alternative, scientifically sound explanations. We are highly likely observing a profound behavioral loop disguised as a physiological miracle. Think about the ice water hack itself.
Drinking the cold water in the morning.
Right. Simply drinking a very large glass of ice water every morning on an empty stomach creates severe gastric distension.
Meaning it physically stretches the stomach?
Exactly. It stretches the stomach wall, which immediately sends satiety signals via the vagus nerve to the brain. It makes people feel full, which naturally and subconsciously reduces their caloric intake throughout the rest of the day.
Oh, interesting.
Combined with a powerful placebo effect, you have a recipe for dramatic weight loss.
That is a really compelling breakdown of the psychology, but doesn't that actually prove my point? Even if we assume the biological mechanism is purely gastric distension and a psychological placebo, we have to push on the value of a catalyst.
A catalyst.
Yes. Think about the frustrated, hopeless dieter who has failed dozens of times. If purchasing this supplement provides them with the psychological momentum to build healthier boundaries, to reduce their cravings, and to actually adhere to a structured morning routine like Jennifer did, doesn't that hold immense life-changing value? Regardless of the precise milligram count on the back of the bottle, it acts as the first domino.
That is a fascinating way to frame it, and I will absolutely acknowledge the undeniable power of psychological anchors and behavioral shifts. Establishing a morning routine before looking at your emails is a fantastic behavioral intervention.
It really is.
The habit loop of cue, routine, and reward is incredibly powerful for human beings. However, this brings me to a massive aha moment regarding this entire industry. Have you considered what these consumers are actually paying for?
Well, they are paying for the catalysts. They are paying for results which they are getting.
They're paying a $70 premium for a behavioral cue. Skeptics and buyers who are in doubt need to be fully aware that they are paying for a psychological catalyst, but the marketing is telling them they are buying a physiological miracle, a fat-burning furnace.
So you think it's misleading?
Yes, the supplement isn't radically changing your cellular metabolism. Your $70 is basically buying your commitment to a morning routine. We see this exact pattern in the supplement industry constantly.
Give me an example.
Well, the AquaSculpt formula is nearly identical to another trendy supplement called Fitspresso. AquaSculpt uses the buzzword ice water hack, while Fitspresso uses the term coffee loophole. They are catchy, rebranded terms designed to sell underwhelming active ingredients to people who are desperate for a solution.
I think it is important to pivot here, not away from the science, but toward the practical decision-making process for our viewers. Because ultimately, consumers watching this have to make a choice.
Right.
They are hearing your clinical data, but they are also feeling the profound pull of Paula and Jennifer's success stories. And part of making an informed choice relies heavily on consumer safety and purchase guarantees.
Safety is absolutely paramount, especially when introducing any daily compound into your liver and kidneys.
Exactly. And to AquaSculpt's credit, the supplement is non-GMO, it is vegetarian, and importantly for many people who are sensitive, it is completely stimulant-free.
Which is a plus.
Yeah, you aren't going to get those horrific caffeine crashes or heart jitters. It is manufactured domestically in a GMP-certified, FDA-registered facility. They utilize third-party testing for purity, but the ultimate safety net for the skeptics watching this, the people who are still on the fence, is the financial guarantee. They offer a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee.
The 60-day refund policy?
Right. This completely removes the financial risk from the equation. It allows buyers to test the 3-month or 6-month supply options to see if this specific synergy works for their unique body chemistry.
True. It mitigates the risk.
If your body doesn't respond to the sparks in the formula, you simply request a refund. It allows the individual to act as their own clinical trial.
I will certainly agree that a 60-day money-back guarantee is a strong, necessary consumer protection. But we have to urgently remind buyers about the logistics of that safety net. That guarantee is only valid if the product is purchased directly through their official website.
Which is exactly why we emphasize utilizing the link in the pinned comment in the description. To avoid the knockoffs.
Precisely. The internet is flooded with third-party sellers on massive retail platforms pushing counterfeit, potentially dangerous knockoffs that contain who knows what. And those sellers absolutely do not honor any refunds.
You definitely have to be careful.
But beyond the logistical safety, the consumer still has to do a harsh cost-benefit analysis. While it may be financially safe to try because of the official refund policy, buyers must measure that 60-day trial against the reality we discussed earlier.
The alternatives.
Yeah, you could spend that same 60 days and significantly less money utilizing properly dosed, generic alternatives like berberine HCl, which are proven in large-scale clinical studies to actually impact metabolic health without relying on the placebo effect or a morning glass of ice water.
Well, as we begin to summarize our positions, I want to reiterate that for those who are genuinely exhausted by traditional, punitive weight loss methods, AquaSculpt offers a highly promising, natural, and synergistic approach.
Even with the dosage concerns.
Yes, because it beautifully leverages the behavioral power of the ice water ritual, acting as a daily anchor that sets a positive trajectory for the rest of your day. It is backed by a wealth of positive empirical testimonials,
from people who have completely transformed their lives and their bodies, and it is all protected by a risk-free financial guarantee that empowers you to safely test it out for yourself.
And my summary remains that while the core ingredients of this supplement, berberine, ALA, green tea extract, capsaicin, while they are deeply rooted in valid, peer-reviewed metabolic science, the clinical reality of the actual dosages in the capsule leaves much to be desired.
Fair enough.
I urge our audience to look past the flashy marketing buzzwords like ice water hack and those mathematically impossible claims of 1,000% metabolic increases. Consider the strict clinical thresholds that are biologically required for true fat oxidation and metabolic repair.
We've uncovered a really vital tension today. It is the friction between isolated clinical data and real-world empirical success. It's the difference between measuring a spark in a lab and actually feeling the warmth of a fire in your daily life.
And managing weight, as we both know, is a deeply personal, often incredibly vulnerable journey. What provides the necessary psychological momentum for one person might simply be an underdosed placebo for another.
Absolutely. We always encourage our viewers to consult with their own doctors before beginning any new supplement regimen. And for those of you who are intrigued, who want to explore the science further, read the testimonials, or safely secure your own supply under that 60-day guarantee, remember that the link to the official website is right there in the pinned comment and the video description for your reference.
It's important to do your own research.
Always.
We won't declare a definitive winner today because the real answer depends on what your specific journey requires.
We leave the final conclusion to you, the informed listener. When you step on that scale tomorrow morning, ask yourself, are you just looking for another brick to lay in a wall that isn't growing? Or are you finally looking for a catalyst that changes the entire blueprint of how you build? Thank you for joining us on The Debate.